Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and we're going to do a quick little review of this guy, the Benchmade Narrows. But before we go ahead and get into that review here, let's go ahead and please subscribe, like the video, follow the Instagram, and like the Facebook page. Alright, let's get some size comparisons in here. First of all, let's do a Nkosi. There you go. Let's do Ender XM18 3.5 inch. There you go. A Strider S&G. There you go. And let's do a few ones here that are a little bit more on the mid price range. Which would be the Shaman, even though it's more expensive now than it has ever been, which is most of everything, but you know. And then a 940. Pretty good in comparison right there, specifically in this scenario. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about with this knife here, and I mean a lot. We'll put that right there for now. There is some controversy with this knife. So let's go ahead and get into it. Obviously, this is titanium. This is M390 blade here. Titanium pocket clip, all that fun stuff, you know, right? It is extremely thin. There's actually also some milling on the inside, not just the outside. So there's a lot of pocketing. It is very well engineered, and that's right there is going to be the kind of the key to this whole review is engineering. And I think it's something that people do not think about enough when it comes to certain knives. So there are 4 things that contribute to a knife's price, and that's the biggest thing that people are annoyed about when it comes to this knife. Everybody is overall impressed with the knife, how thin it is, how easily it pockets, and the build quality is great. Action is good. The detent, because it is an X-Slack, isn't much of a thing. All axis bar locks are very similar in that scenario. Even this 940 here, that's just how that goes. But again, there are 4 things that, you know, go into the price of a knife. Labor is probably one of the biggest things, if not the biggest, whether people like it or not. Materials, actually less important in price than you realize. Engineering, depending on how complicated the build is and what you need to accomplish what you are looking to actually get done and what you want the end result to be. And then obviously marketing. So why is this different than most other folders out there? Well, one, it's extremely thin, and is extra milling in the inside, not just here. So it's very, very precise, very small and minor very, very precision work going on. And so with the blade. So the blade is thin overall. Like, it's thin on every front. Even comparing it with the 940, which is also a thin knife, it makes the 940 look fat. It just does. But some people thought that this was just a normal axis lock with normal Omega springs. It's not. So, obviously, normal Omega springs. Let's see if I'm going to use my normal Omega springs. You can see that little pin right there. That's part of the Omega spring attached to that bar there. And then spring back. I'm not going to take this guy apart. If you want to look at the internals of an Omega spring, Benchmade, go for it. There were plenty of videos in there, up there, out there, up there. This one, if you don't want to, if you can't see it, sorry, I'll try my best. But if you can't see it, Nick Shabazz actually did a great video a while back about it. But if you look, let's see if I can see. Let's see if I can help you see. Hopefully hopefully you can see that. So there's this bar right there that has springs on it, right? And then that is a coil on both sides, and then it has its loop that's pressed up against here. It is a more durable spring by nature. It is a better spring by nature. Should be a longer lasting spring by nature than your normal Omega springs. But the engineering to keep an bar lock functional, smooth, with that action at this being this thin takes time, it takes money, and it takes effort to design it and engineer it to be this thin with a different spring, with a very particular spring, with a very particular bar lock, with a very particular pivot, and everything. And redesigning the axis lock isn't free. I want you to all understand that. And also we gotta think of this, like, they get so thin here, if there's any mistake on any part at all, they could ruin many batches of this titanium. They can't just reuse it super easily, because they could easily accidentally put a hole in here, machining slightly wrong, or something is up. It leaves a lot more likelihood for errors and wasted product, because you're trying to achieve something so thin. Now, does that engineering and designing and redesigning and risk of things going wrong when you're trying to do something so thin create a high price tag? Yes, it does. It will create a higher price tag. If this design was done but 940 thickness, then yeah, you see it with a much lower price tag. It's just how that works. They are doing more with less. They're doing more work to get less material, if that makes sense. Like they are physically doing more work to get it in this form factor and this design. Did anybody ask to do that? No, but that's kind of the point. A lot of people don't ask for certain knives to be a certain way, but the maker wants, or the company wants to do it that way, to do something different, to do something new, to go outside the box of the norm. And I appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate their willingness to do something different, their willingness to try to push their boundaries of how thin they can make something. Not a lot of companies are willing to do that. Not a lot of companies at all. So I think overall it is a great knife. It is a fantastic knife. It is a great slicer. It is super thin. And the ergos are pretty darn great for how thin this is. I was actually shocked. I thought when I handled it that I was actually going to be handling paper. I'm basically on both sides. It was going to be kind of sharp, in this area specifically. But they did a good job, really good job knocking it down, so it didn't seem like I was holding something. I handled it was super sharp just because it was thin. That also takes engineering and the time to make sure it's right. I support the design. I love the engineering. But even I don't think it's worth the price tag. I don't think it's worth $522. That's just the reality, but I don't really think it is. Yeah, even I have a hard time. Do I think it's worth the freak out that some YouTubers, not one in particular, just there's some YouTubers out there that have freaked out, been overly dramatic about the price. Does this warranty warrant the price that it has? No. Does the price warrant a freak out like this? No. We need to meet somewhere in the middle. Don't freak out about the price, but also realize that it is high. Some people are like, well, this is just a $200. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is not a $200 knife with the amount of engineering, time, labor, and everything that goes into it, along with the material. All of it is not a $200 knife. It's just not. But so when we're talking 500, you're telling me that you're competing with this. You're competing with this. And the standard version, not this one, but you're competing with that too. You're competing with the Trinity. You're competing with a Strider. You're competing with Hinderer. You're competing with Nkosi. Sorry about that. Still under the weather. Nkosi and Sabenza. That's what you're competing with. You're even above this guy. Hoping that would not happen. Got the coffee fit. Either way, so you're competing with these guys. Okay, I don't agree with that. I think all of those knives are better in a lot of ways than this guy. But then you look at their competition, or you look at other competitions. Their direct competitor, who has this out here. This is more expensive. Yes, this is M290, and that's S90V. Okay, the material slightly different. This also has carbon fiber. Okay, it's a liner lock though. This is a bar lock. There's more engineering that goes into this, by the way. There's more engineering that goes into how thin this is on this and on the blade. Okay. But you got carbon fiber. I don't know if that really makes this, really justifiable. Right, okay. But this has Sinkovich. He designed it. Yeah, I guess that will add a higher price. It's made in Taiwan versus the US. That's also a point you need to understand. It's more expensive to manufacture in the US than Taiwan. Taiwan isn't cheap though, so I will give them that. Yes, there's fancy milling on this and fancy milling on this. Okay, that's one area, but okay, you got me there. There is more time that goes into the milling, but then there's more time that goes into redesigning this lock than just doing a liner lock. So it's back and forth, This clip, great clip. This clip, horrible. So these both have their faults. Sorry about that, hit the camera. These both have their things that they have over each other. These both are overpriced. I think these should be at a max 400. Not close, not even touching 500. But they're both over 500. So do I think they should be $200 knives? No, not at all. Not the slightest. So I don't think the freak out is justified at all. I don't think that is true at all. But I don't think the price is justified. I think we need to meet in the middle. No, it should not be a $200 knife, but no, it should be a $522 knife. It should be a $350 to $400 knife. So the price increase is not as crazy as you think, but at the same time, at the moment, no one else is doing a knife like this. No one else is doing the engineering like this. No one else is taking the time to build a knife like this. So, on that note, honestly, it's a really well built, great knife. If you need a slicer that would slice forever, yeah, recommend this guy. And one person, me and another guy, had a conversation about this. This video is being recorded quite a bit later than it'll be released, so this conversation just happened, but for you guys it'll be 3 or so months ago. So this dates the video, but I think it's justified to say that's because someone mentioned, or we were having a conversation really about this. It's like, well, is the Narrows better than what the Benchmade Anthem was? And the answer is no. The Benchmade Anthem was the best knife, the Benchmade has ever made, period. And it was less expensive than this. So if that says anything. Yeah. So I'm in the middle of the road. Great design, great knife. I understand the engineering and labor that goes into making something like this and redesigning things and designing things to make it fit and make it work for how thin this is. I understand that. I still think it's overpriced, but I don't think it's as overpriced as people think it is. So I think in a couple months, by the time this video comes out, people will have calmed down a little bit about it. So that's really all I have. I think it's a great knife, yet still overpriced. But am I disappointed when I got it, after I got it, and still did today? No, I'm not disappointed. And in the slightest, I think it was and will continue to be a good purchase. Will I ever sell it? I don't know, but I will say I'm not disappointed. If a knife is truly so overpriced that people throw fits, you would think when I got it, I'll be disappointed. I've been very disappointed before on things that were like that, but this one's different. I'm not disappointed at all, but I do think it is still overpriced. But that's really all I have today. That's gonna be it. This video is starting to get long, so we're gonna cut it here. If you have any questions, totally comment, and I will happily respond to you guys. But yeah, fantastic knife, well engineered, not disappointing, not overhyped, and yet still overpriced. And that's gonna be this. That's gonna be that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Please follow Instagram and like the Facebook page. And I'll see you guys in the next video.